How you been?
So good morning, everybody. We're going to start with a song that's not very well known by John Denver, who is very well known. And it's a song called Perhaps Love. And I haven't thought about this song in about 30 years, but I did when I started thinking about the sermon today. So here we go. Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort. It's there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, the memory of love will bring you home. Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer. It wants to show you more. And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, the memory of love will see you through. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some as strong as steel, to some a way of living, to some a way to feel. Some say love is holding on, and some say letting go, and some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of change, like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you. My memories of love will be of you. Nice, Eileen. Okay, back to the center. All right. Thank you, Michael, for helping me on short notice. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to Taos United Community Church. And as we like to say, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe or used to believe or want to believe or will never believe, you are welcome here. This house of prayer belongs to you. And we're glad you're here. So, I have an opening prayer, but let's start with a few, well, first of all, are there any announcements? Yes, there are. Jerry, please.
Long way from
I know.
All of which to say, watch your email. There's a survey coming that just kind of a check-in for Leadership Council in terms of the worship model we've been following and kind of relationship to our search and thoughts about path forward. So it'll be in email tomorrow with a lengthy introduction. So if you don't want to go through the whole introduction, click the link.
And if you have any trouble with it, give me a call because I can help you. It's not hard, but sometimes, you know, it's a little tricky for some people. So All right, so here we are, and it's ready. It's time for worship. So let's close our eyes and be in a space of openness. If you'd like, take a deep breath. As we breathe in the cool mountain air. As we breathe out whatever's in our way. Breathe in, breathe out. The opening prayer is from Macrina Whitaker's Seasons of Your Heart. There are two prayers I'm going to do today. This first one is a prayer to the potter. Dear potter, the lump of clay that I am keeps crying for some form day by day. I yearn for you to mold me. This is a trust song, Lord. I am in your hands like clay. I am ready to be transformed. I expect to be molded. I expect to be beautiful. I expect to be loved. And if by chance someone should drop me, as your apprentices sometimes do, I expect to be hurt. I'm just trying to say I have surrendered to your dream for me. I am in your hands like clay. And the second is a prayer to own your beauty. Oh God, help me to believe the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. So we have a tradition here of lighting candles and coming up, lighting candles and singing. That's what we do. And when we're done, we have 2 bowls full of candles that are lit that represent the prayer that is inside of us. So I invite you to do that. And for this time, we were going to sing the song, Peace I Leave With You, My Friend, which is number 27 in your books. Number 27.
Peace I leave with you, my friends. Shalom, my peace in all you do. Peace I leave with you, my friends. I give to you so you can give to others too. To share God's love is why I came, to show God's kindness to the world. Go now, my friends, and do the same until I come again. Peace I leave with you, my friends. Shalom, my peace in all give to you so you can give to others too. Take my hand and be at peace. The Spirit of our love I send, and with this love you will be free until I come again. Peace I leave with you, my friends. Shalom, my peace in all you do. Peace I leave with you, my friends. I give to you so you can give to others too. With this love you all will know that loneliness is at an end. Rejoice, my people, though I go, for I will come again. Peace I leave with you, my friends. Shalom, my peace in all you do. Peace I leave with you, my friends. I give to you so you can give to others too.
The first reading today contains excerpts from chapter 4 of Paul's letter to the Ephesians, the Message version. In light of all this, here's what I want you to do. While I'm locked up here, a prisoner for the master, I want you to get out there and walk. Better yet, run on the road God called you to travel. I don't want any of you sitting around on your hands. I don't want anyone strolling off down some path that goes nowhere. And mark that you do this with humility and discipline, not in fits and starts, but steadily, pouring yourselves out for each other in acts of love, alert at noticing differences, and quick at mending fences. You were all called to travel on the same road and in the same direction, so stay together, both outwardly and inwardly. Everything you are and think and do is permeated with oneness. But that doesn't mean you should all look and speak and act the same. Out of the generosity of Christ, each of us is given his own gift. He handed out gifts above and below, filled heaven with his gifts, filled earth with his gifts. He handed out gifts of apostle, prophet, evangelist, and pastor teacher to train Christ's followers in skilled servant work, working within Christ's body, the church, until we're all moving rhythmically and easily with each other, efficient and graceful in response to God's Son, fully mature adults, fully developed within and without, fully alive like Christ. God wants us to grow up, to know the whole truth and tell it in love, like Christ in everything. We take our lead from Christ, who is the source of everything we do. He keeps us in step with each other. His very breath and blood flow through us, nourishing us so that we will grow up healthy in God, robust in love.
She did that well. I'm good.
Good morning. The second reading is from the Gospel of John, is also taken from the Message. It's chapter 6, verses 35 through 40. Jesus said, "I am the bread of life. The person who aligns with me hungers no more and thirsts no more ever. I have told you this explicitly because even though you have seen me in action, you don't really believe me. Every person the Father gives me eventually comes running to me. And once that person is with me, I hold on and don't let go. I came down from heaven not to follow my own whim, but to accomplish the will of the one who sent me. This, in a nutshell, is that will, that everything handed over to me by the Father be completed, not a single detail missed. And at the wrap-up of time, I have everything and everyone put together, upright and whole. Don't bicker about themselves over me. You're not in charge here. The Father who sent me is in charge. He draws people to me. That's the only way you'll ever come. Only then do I do my work, putting people together, setting them on their feet, and ready for the end."
Oops. Good morning, everybody. I always pray that God gives me the thoughts in my head and the words in my mouth. So that's what I'm doing this morning. Today's reading really spoke to me, both of them, when I first read them, especially in the Message version. I must admit that although I have often heard the scripture that starts with, "I am the bread of life," it's usually followed by, "No one comes to the Father except through me." I never read the other lines in that passage. And the lectionary skips over the lines that spoke the loudest to me. I'm not sure why that is, but it's my favorite part, so I'm going to talk about that. They speak of the love of God that holds on and won't let go. And the instruction that we begin right away to tell the truth that we've been given. The gifts from Spirit, from our Creator, and to tell it with love. Paul says, get out there and walk. No, run on the path that we're set on. Do our work and don't be distracted and diverted away from our focus. And above all, to trust. How does that happen? How do you know that a gift you've been given is a gift of Spirit? That you even have a gift at all? In my childhood, I got the impression that myself was the problem. It took years before I considered another way of looking at things. So this morning I ask you, when did you first get a glimpse of your own beautiful self? Who was it who shared what they saw in you when they found being with you a real treasure? Sometimes we're lucky enough to meet those people in our childhoods, and sometimes it takes a whole lifetime. When did it happen for you? I did get feedback from the outside world. I knew I was good at school, that I could get good grades, even if I didn't apply myself, that my handwriting was good enough for Sister Brunona to have me write things on the blackboard that everybody else had to copy down in their notebooks. Usually it was during religion class, and the information was things we would have to memorize. Prayers like the act of faith, and the act of love, and the act of contrition. Writing on the blackboard was a coveted position, like being asked to decorate the bulletin boards during the normal school day. It meant the two other girls that I already knew, and I already knew the things that the kids in their seats were going to be working on, like multiplication tables, or spelling of irregular verbs, or plural forms of words that did not end in S. I ate up that kind of recognition. That was in 3rd grade. The following year, in 4th grade, came another piece of the puzzle. My dad worked with a woman in the factory who taught piano lessons. Her name was Muffy. He and Mom wanted us to learn how to play, so he bought us a secondhand piano, and my sister Ginny and I started taking lessons. I remember I learned how to play 5 songs in the first half hour. Just right-handed, but I could play, and people recognized the songs. And I was hooked. Before long, people asked me to play for them. Relatives, my parents. No one had to tell me to practice. I loved it. I loved it. I was just a kid. But the feedback I got was that I was good at something not everyone else could do. And it was wonderful. A nun asked me in 7th grade to teach 3rd grade music because their teacher, Sister Jeremiah, was tone deaf. I would go down for the 18 minutes of my recess and play a desktop push-button organ and teach them songs that were in their books. In the beginning, Sister would sit at her desk and tell us which song to sing next. But after a while, she'd leave the room, and I was in charge. And I loved it. I taught them how to read notes and musical notation and time signatures. I was learning all of this in piano lessons with Muffy, and I was just passing on what I learned, and I tried to make it fun. I would sneak up into the choir loft and play the pipe organ after school when nobody was there but Pete, the janitor. And I'd sing to my heart's content the hymns that I loved. And Pete talked to the priest, and soon I was playing the organ at 7 o'clock Mass on Sunday mornings. I was 12. So people recognized that gift in me and invited me to share it. I started playing and singing in the folk choir when that stuff started, and I never stopped singing in church my whole life. It wasn't my peers, but adults in my life who took a moment to acknowledge me. But I didn't really trust that these gifts were that special. I always thought it meant more to be good at something that was hard for me. I never took a single music class in high school or college because I was afraid of competition. And I never took a single creative writing class until I got sober as a 35-year-old woman. I was afraid to play in the field where other people who loved music and writing could be doing that. I didn't believe I'd measure up. I went it alone and missed out on playing in bands or in groups. And yet I never forgot that my music was good enough for church. It was good enough for God's house. And that stuck. Today in the gospel and in Paul's letter, we hear that we're supposed to embrace the gifts from God and share them. He limits the passage to gifts about service. And I want to expand that view here, Because, as we say in UCC, God's still speaking, right? I'm suggesting that all those gifts of who we are count, including how we learn, what our natural abilities are. What are the things we most enjoy that we would feel bereft if we had to live without them? I'm looking out here and seeing some of those gifts in this community of ours. We have artists and writers and outdoorsy folks. We have people who are adept at teaching and carpentry and computer wizards and people who have languages other than English. We have people with shamanic gifts and musical gifts and psychological healers and chiropractic healers, people who have given their careers to helping people access their rights to legal representation. And I'm sure I'm missing some here. We're going to be held onto by God, and God won't let go of us until we're complete. So all we have to do is be ourselves, not the same as everyone else, our own unique people, to grow and get good at that, to know the truth about ourselves and God's love for us. I believe that knowing that will set us free. Will set us free to be loving and doing our part in the world. And that's what makes us happy. That brings us peace. That makes us less afraid. Why don't we learn that in school? In my case, I had to get sober and deal with my food addiction and get therapy and heal the gaping wounds before I got any real sense of who I am and what my life is supposed to be about. Yes, I learned that Jesus was the way and the truth and the life. But I was also given the impression that I'd have to be perfect, all bright and shiny in my black or white patent leather shoes, whatever the day was, to be okay. Every sin was a black mark. And every black mark had to be erased and forgiven, and I had to promise never to commit those sins again. And that proved to be impossible. So I went around feeling pretty bad about myself, and soon giving up on ever being better. It doesn't make for a happy, joyous, free life. But here we learned the good news, right? Jesus says, "My Father in heaven gave you to me, already done. You're mine. And it's my job to hold on tight and help you be the way you're created to be. Before things got messy and complicated and all wrong. So stick close to me. I won't let you go. That's my job. That's God's will for Jesus. God's job was to give us over to Jesus. And Jesus' job is to bring us to completion, to show us the way. Why are those verses omitted in the lectionary? I need those verses. I need to know God's got me. God wants me. And God's not going to give up on me. And that's the truth. That's worth repeating. How do I feel when I hear those words? I feel better. I feel braver. I hear less noise in my head. I believe progress is possible. And I begin to see the signs everywhere around me. What signs of hope do you see? What helps you to turn down the volume of distractions and doomsday fortune tellers? For me, I need to start every morning in the quiet space of my green chair, where I can sit in the cool and think about my day and ask for help with it. Ask to be open to the unexpected goodness and the sweet surprises. Ask to be ready for the slings and arrows that may come too, and duck. I don't know everything, but there are a few things I do know. I know what I need to do to stay sober and in recovery. That's a big one. I know how to treat my husband and my friends. I know how to show up for work and for life most of the time. I am learning how to rest. I am learning how to value not just the things I do for people, but the time I spend, say, sitting on the couch with my daughter, listening to her talk about her day. I can hold those truths and tell them with love like I'm doing right now. And I can encourage you to do the same in your own way, with your own truths, as you walk the good road. May it be so. And now we're going to take 2 minutes just in quiet silence. I'm going to shut off the recording.